Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. Please hit that like and subscribe button for me. So tempo runs, whether you're a coach or an athlete, may be something that's important for you to incorporate into your training program. All tempo runs are, they're just low intensity sprints performed at about 65 to 75% of maximum speed. The distance covered when running tempo runs can be anywhere from 50 meters to 200 meters. It's all going to depend on the athlete and the sport that they play. Rest periods between reps of tempo runs should be incomplete, but they shouldn't be so short where it's too difficult to perform, creating fatigue for the following days of the week. When doing these tempo runs, we're looking to perform a sprinting motor pattern. If the work is too hard, we're not going to be able to perform the sprinting motor pattern for too long, and we're going to be inefficient with our running. For the vast majority of team sports, athletes are required to perform their work utilizing the anaerobic energy systems. And in between bouts of high intensity work, they rely on a strong, robust aerobic energy system so they can quickly recover. Tempo runs allow for athletes to rely on the anaerobic system to perform their work and rely on the aerobic system to rest and recover between reps. Very similar in the nature of most team sports. Tempo runs can be performed in conjunction with high-intensity sprinting, plyometric programs, and weightlifting. The intensity should be low enough that it's not going to cause too much neural fatigue and take away resources that could be performed on high-intensity sprinting, jumping, and weightlifting. And the intensity and volume should be managed well enough that it's not going to be too stressful on the musculature. Charlie Francis is a great resource on sprint training, and he has some interesting thoughts on tempo runs. And according to Charlie Francis, tempo runs can be used as a form of training or as a way to enhance recovery between sessions. I've done a video in the past about whether or not you can enhance recovery from session to session, and it seems like it's highly individual, but here's what Charlie Francis has to say. Blood flow acts as a transporter of heat. Tempo runs aid in recovery and the ability to stay warm between reps and sets. It can have an indirect role on speed development by increasing the muscle's ability to generate more heat. That's an interesting thought. He also claims that this type of work improves capillary density, therefore improving blood flow to working muscles. Tempo runs also provide an opportunity for athletes to perform dynamic hamstring work at submaximal intensities, providing a stimulus to improve the structural integrity of the hamstrings. So how does this fit into a strength and conditioning program? Do you perform this on off days? Do you perform this after you're lifting? How is it incorporated? And that's all going to depend on the context of the rest of your training program. The following are different methods of progression in tempo runs. First would be for total time. So maybe you perform tempo runs and don't care about distance, but you perform tempo runs for 10 minutes. Then the next week you perform tempo runs for 11 minutes, and then for 12 minutes, and so on. The next would be total distance. So the first time you do tempo runs, you perform for 1,000 total yards to 1,100 yards and 1,200 yards, and so on. Next would be just different types of sets and reps. So 10 sets of 100 yards and 10 sets of 110 yards, 12 sets of 110 yards, and so on. Just make sure you're providing the aerobic stimulus that's not going to disrupt your training, whether it's your skills training, technical training, your strength training, your power training, etc. And from a coaching perspective, another thing I find beneficial with tempo runs is that it's very easy to implement with your athletes. You don't have to set up a bunch of cones, you don't have to provide much instruction, you just give the distance, give the intensity, and have your athletes run. For those of you who watched this video all the way through, thank you. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe for me as well.